Welcome to another edition of Reflections in Running. I hope you've made a wee bit of profit going through the past few weeks. It certainly has been the case. Don't forget, of course, add all of these horses to your horse alerts list, and then when the day of race comes and that horse actually runs, you'll be alerted via an email. It basically cuts out the work for you from searching on the ABCs every single day. Coming to the end of the flat season, but still a bit of time yet for horses to make their mark, and indeed on the all-weather as well. Let's start with Bogsnog, who ran at Wolverhampton last week and was unlucky to finish third, finishing well but too little too late. He went off a mark of 63 at first, a few outings back. This is off 65, but he's sure to find a mark at Wolverhampton in these lower grade handicap sprints, and there's little doubt that his best distance is over 6 furlongs. That's Bogsnog in a low grade Wolverhampton handicap. Let's go to the other end of the class scheme and look back at Champions Day, but I'm going to look at only the one handicap of the day. That was the 1 mile handicap, the final race on the card run by Musadis. But the horse to take from this race, and there's still time for him to win a nice race this season, is Fort Bastion. He last run off a mark of 95 in May. He's back down to that level now, and I think ridden by Mikel Barcelona for the first time, he made his ground too quickly at Ascot, had every chance at the furlong pole, and then just, I suppose, slightly weakened, faded out of contention that day. I've almost thought, even though his last win was over a mile at Ayr, I've always thought his best trip is a really stiff 7 furlongs rather than a mile, unless he can be held up until the last minute. And although he's not outstandingly well handicapped, he's well weighted enough to land a nice prize between now and the end of the term, and possibly on the all-weather as well. Obsidian, we've highlighted before, this is the second time in 3 weeks he's gone on the list. But there's a reason for that, because he made his all-weather debut at Wolverhampton last week and was very unlucky in the run, beating a dead heat between the first two home and a head back to himself in third. Had he started his run earlier and not got blocked off slightly 2 furlongs out, this would have been a winning debut for Richard Fahey's charge on the all-weather, and there are plenty of opportunities for a horse of his class to pick up some nice prizes through the winter if Richard wants to keep him on the go through to next March. And finally, one of the most enigmatic sprinters around, but well worth including in this week's list, is Elusivity, who is rated off 81 at the moment, but in the last 14 months has been placed no less than 6 times off marks in the mid to high 80s. I'll admit he's a very hard horse to win with. He needs a fast pace and he needs deep ground, but there might be something right at the back end of this season on the turf where he can pick up a nice prize or 2 or 3 handicaps that he would be well weighted in. He's tricky, but he's capable, and his name's Elusivity. That is the Reflections in Running for another week. Bogsnog, Fort Bastion, Obsidian and Elusivity.